Kombat has begun again, for the final time on this generation of consoles. With that in mind, Midway has included every single combatant in the history of the franchise, delivering a game packed with more content than almost any other fighting game in existence. In the tradition of recent Mortal Kombat-related games, Armageddon opens with a fairly impressive cutscene, where we're told that things have gotten out of control. There are too many fighters and their brutal battles threaten to rip the realms apart. As a result, the Elder Gods have created one last tournament to put an end to it all. Or something like that. After Mortal Kombat 2, the plotline hasn't exactly been the easiest thing to follow, but at least it tries to carry on with a story, something that most fighters don't even bother with. Besides the central fighting game, Armageddon has a load of extra features. The crypt has returned once again, allowing you to use coins earned in various modes to purchase extra costumes, levels, sketches, songs, and videos. However, this time, there's no mystery involved in what you're about to buy. It tells you up front. There's also Motor Kombat, a kart racing game featuring cartoonish versions of many of the combatants. The game is a nice diversion, but like Puzzle Kombat and Mortal Kombat Deception, it's a watered-down version of a better game. Each character only has one weapon available to them during the race, which makes the races become dull rather quickly, despite some track-specific fatalities. The meatiest extra feature is Conquest Mode, which has returned yet again. However, it's a little different this time from previous MKs in that it doesn't train you for the fighting game proper. Instead, it's evolved into more of a true single-player action game, somewhat similar to Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. In Conquest, you play as a new and fairly generic character named Taven, who must discover his fate as protector of Edenia, one of the many realms in the MK mythos. His story ties into the main plot of the fighting game, but Conquest also provides you with a somewhat enjoyable way to collect items and bonuses in ways other than just going to the crypt. Unfortunately, in turning Conquest into a full-on action game with occasional matches here and there, Midway has opened a whole new can of worms. As a bonus feature, it's great. As a standalone game, it's average at best. With no jump button and a problematic camera, it's easy to see why it's still just an extra. However, in true Mortal Kombat fashion, Conquest is incredibly brutal. There are many level-specific ways of murdering your foes that should delight gorehounds everywhere. And once you start linking your attacks and your special moves against hordes of enemies, it's hard not to crack a slight grin as the floor is bathed in blood. There's also an extensive creative fighter option, where you select everything from accessories to attacks. You can then take your fighter online in what is sure to be a battle royale of the strangest looking characters since Clay Fighter. Extra features aside, Mortal Kombat is primarily a fighting game, and ultimately, if you've played Deadly Alliance or Deception, you already know whether or not you'll take to Armageddon. That's not to say that changes haven't been made to the fighting mechanics, though. Air combat, a staple of the original 2D versions, has returned, including air combos. In addition, the amount of fighting styles for each character has been pared down to about 2, simplifying the choices during a bout. The fighting in Mortal Kombat has always been a different beast than the fighting in something like Soul Calibur or Tekken. It's never been as smooth or intuitive as those games, and many hardcore fighting fans have turned their backs on the franchise. However, if you're willing to memorize both combos and special moves, you could find yourself enjoying what is essentially an extension of the original games. A title with a lot of fun, albeit pretty stiff fighting. When you first start up the game and see the astounding 58 characters available right from the start, it's easy to get intimidated. But there's something strangely comforting about being able to remember a certain character from any of the past games, including bosses, and knowing that they're in there somewhere. Another added element to the gameplay is the concept of creating your own fatalities. When it comes time to finish off your opponent, tapping a certain combination will begin what can become a series of fatality elements, such as tearing out a heart or ripping off an arm. You can then string together more fatality elements by entering in more button combinations. While the idea is a fresh one, and definitely gives you a sense of morbid accomplishment, some will find themselves missing the traditional fatality system. Part of the appeal of Mortal Kombat has always been discovering what horrifying fatalities the MK team was able to come up with. Sometimes you'd be disappointed, sometimes you'd be delighted, but it was always a goal to see every single death. Now some of that magic has been lost. You're never going to see a fatality as unique as turning into a dragon and biting off your opponent's torso. The large amount of interesting arena-based deaths help to balance this out a little, but if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, be prepared for this new development. Whether it's out of nostalgia for the originals, or the simple fact that Hellspawn ninjas who throw spears are just really cool, this series will always hold a special place in the hearts of gamers. Luckily, Mortal Kombat Armageddon delivers the culmination of all things MK. The roster is huge, the modes are many, the fighting has been nicely tweaked, and overall, it's a fitting way to turn the page on another generation of this classic franchise.